They were forming a convoy, several hundred people, I don't know how many. My great-grandmother could not walk. And she was with hands like this, and we moved away. That was the end of one life of the 6 million. The Romanian government issued a law that all the properties in rural areas shall be confiscated, the Jewish properties, and the Jews cannot live in rural areas. We had with us this great-grandmother, and when they pushed it in this cattle car, she all the time went after my mother. Why did you bring me here? I want to go in the kitchen. When I think today, many times when I think, why did they bring us there? The soldiers started driving us to move toward inside the Ukraine. And then one night we ran away and we ended up in a smaller village called Ivashkovets. And the Ukrainer let us in a kind of summer kitchen. This first winter was the most difficult, and I think a large number that perished in Transnistria. The two main causes was hunger and typhus. Essentially, all the food procurement was based on bartering. You gave something to the Ukrainian peasants, and you got some food. They were supposed not to go outside the village of Ivashkovets. That was the instruction by the Romanian authorities. All the time, every day, we were breaking the rules and all the risk associated with that. And that was the only way to survive. Okay, so let's finish with that.
All right. 9 total.
Nine grandchildren, yeah. 3 sons and 9 grandchildren.
Yeah. My grandparents are Holocaust survivors. That's one reason why David's story really spoke to me, because they're in the setting, and in a lot of it, it's kind of similar to my grandma's.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you again.
This is the ID from Ivashkovci in Transnistria for my father. You see here, they were catching Jews for forced labor. My father decided to go and hiding in the forest. He did not tell my mom where he is. He told me, because they were afraid if the soldiers catch my mom and they torture her, so she would disclose the place where he is, so I may lose both parents. And he stayed about 2-3 weeks in the forest. It's difficult to comprehend, but he survived it.
It seemed like, there are all these forces acting on David and his family, and they were just so random and so senseless that it almost feels like a force of nature. And I'm kind of thinking, try to have an immersive forest around you.
I went to the forest, I heard some noise, and I started running, and I fell with the wood on me, and I dislocated this shoulder. Look how it looks like. You see, this is a normal hand.
Yeah.
And this is the way I ended up. When the Germans were retreating, small groups of soldiers were running whatever they could. And the partisans decided, they were so upset that one of their people was killed, that they decided to hang them. And one of the hanged fell down and ran away. And I remember on one side was my father with the axe waiting for the Germans, and on the other side I was waiting to the Germans to come. Well, no German came, nothing happened. And that was basically the first day of liberation. Here is pictures, basically. This is me as a baby, this is my mother, this is my father, and this is my grandfather from my father's side. So that is all what I have from that period, because we came back with nothing. People have similar stories, one way or the other. It's to make the story in such a way that it generates some interest for the younger people to read it, to get familiar, because they do not know. Basically, the older generation who did all those bad things, they didn't talk to the younger generation. In the Jewish population, it is more, people get more educated, they get more exposed, because they are families, grandparents, aunt, uncles, there is. But in the general population, that is, to me, the most important thing, is to share the story with the general population so they realized what happened and to avoid it happening again. Because they are the one that decide in a democracy where the country, the direction we are moving to.
I'd really like to do justice to your great storytelling ability and your very visual and sensory details. Having these stories and in the survivor's own words, and with you being able to choose what to tell and how it's being told, I think that's really important.
So tell me, what happened next with all this material that you collected?